You know what I love about Smallville? I love watching clearly adults playing 15-year-olds, staring off into the distance as How to Save a Life by the Phrase plays. But what happens when they graduate? Well, the writers take advantage, in the sense that they completely lose their fucking minds. We've got pregnancies, marriages, more blackmail, crossing, triple quadruple crossing, and everyone has a gun now. In year 6, my little baby brain didn't get it, but now, as the same age as the characters, I kinda love it. Season 6 is extremely authentic to real life. It begins with some nonsense with Zod that doesn't matter, because proper Zod then shows up in season 9. But we start the season with a whole bunch of new ships.
Are you putting the move on me?
No, come on.
There's Oliver Queen and Lois, Jimmy Olsen and Chloe, and now Lana is so disenchanted by Clark's secrets that she ends up with Lex Luthor. They in fact do it in front of a fireplace as Clark plays with his balls. Lex loves Lana because to him, she's pure, someone who can lead him on a path of redemption, because unlike every other woman in his life, she's not involved in a game of lies. And also there's a dick measuring contest between him and Clark now.
I go to bed praying every night that I don't get what I deserve. And then you meet someone who's so good, she might be the one person who can learn to love you.
While Lana loves Lex because he's both an alternative to Clark as someone who's very open, and he's also got the charisma of Michael Rosenbaum. And who doesn't love him?
I've never been a drinker, but you know, it's hard for me not to have a smoke every once in a while. It's hard for me not to smoke a little pot every once in a while. Well, 3 times a week.
But the tragedy of their relationship is that instead of redeeming Lex, Lana is poisoned by his darkness. He proposes to her, and this is where the show gets pretty messed up.
See, I highly doubt she'll say no, Clark. Now that she's carrying my child.
Furthermore, to deal with everyone disliking Lex Luthor, Lana develops his behavior and mannerisms.
How much does Lana Lang's personal life boost newspaper sales these days?
And when she confronts Clark Kent, he wants to tell her everything, but he reveals that he knows about the baby.
Even the fact that you told me that you look back at the past and regret it every day? Has that changed too?
He instead lets her go and hopes Lex will make her happy. She admits to Lex that she does in fact love Clark, but also says you deserve better than that, which shakes Lex Luthor to his very core. And he reveals that he would have waited for her forever because she's the only person that can change him for the better, but judging by his influence, we know that won't be the case, regardless if she accepts.
Yes, Lex Luthor.
Smallville as a whole, but season 6 especially, at its core is about effective forecasts, which simply put is our predictions of our future emotional reactions to something, often our ideas of what will bring us everlasting happiness. As Wilson and Gilbert said, common to these myths is the notion that if people, perhaps with the help of a genie, could make their wishes come true, they would achieve everlasting happiness. Sometimes, however, people are disappointed by the very things they think they want. Research on effective forecasting has shown that people routinely mispredict how much pleasure or displeasure future events will bring, and as a result, sometimes work to bring about events that do not maximize their happiness. The tragedy of Clark and Lana is very much about this miscalculation. All their actions here is built on anticipating something that can give them everlasting happiness.
When I was with Clark, I would have said yes without hesitating. I thought that chapter of my life was over.
But in reality, the feeling is both short-lived and built on something that they can't see. As a result, they've got to discover that they're both more emotionally resilient than they really think, because damn, there's some twists. Clark has a nightmare about shanking Lex Luthor on the wedding. He trashes the barn when he's awake, and he finally approaches Lana to tell her the truth, but then she also says that she's not going to marry Lex, because she actually had discovered the truth earlier.
I'm down here for ground zero of the Luthor Lang wedding, but I didn't have a choice, it wasn't my fault.
But this isn't the twist. Lex Luthor also has a nightmare of the baby being a goddamn demon, and reveals to Lionel he's afraid of Lana finding out of what he's really like, because he's done something horrible, something unspeakable. Subsequently, he kills Lana's personal physician when he tries to blackmail him, all under the wedding altar. Lionel then threatens Clark's life to keep Lana in line. So, as he waits in the barn, preparing to propose himself, it doesn't happen. Instead, the worst happens. Lionel welcomes Lana into the Luthor family. Lex smiles at the sad puppy dog Clark. Everlasting happiness with Lana. The future prediction that she's the only source of all of this is pretty much bullshit, and Clark has to just learn to live with it, because he can. As Chloe said,
Clark, you don't hesitate to run into a burning building or jump in front of a bullet because nothing can penetrate that iron flesh of yours. But the one time saving Lana means putting your heart on the line, the Man of Steel is nowhere to be found.
and that's what this whole wedding arc has been about. Testing the steel in his heart, while also introducing that he doesn't have to do it alone. We now have Oliver Queen, aka the Queen of the Olives. He's brought in for really two purposes: to give something Lois to do and to expand Clark's world. So there's something beyond the horizon of another f***ing Kryptonian phantom thingy-majig, and outside of Lana. Ollie was Lex Luthor's childhood bully, and he does try to apologize in the present, but he's pushed away. They're both locked in a cycle of hatred.
I want you to know how much I regret it.
And I regret ever thinking I needed friends like you.
Because back in the day, he picked on a good kid, a proto-Clark Kent called Duncan, who found Ollie stealing the test and answers, but where Duncan told administration, Lex wanted to use it to blackmail them. The ensuing fight then led to Duncan being hit by a car, and then there's some nonsense with avenging ghosts in the presence. But the point is, where Ollie looks for redemption, Lex looks for advantages. And that includes the very idea of redemption as a self-absorbed commodity that can be won over, as opposed to an actual process of change.
You never could take responsibility for what happened to Duncan.
Like your hands were clean.
Not even close. But since then, I've been scrubbing them real hard. Yours just keep getting dirtier.
This is why he does everything he can to take Lana, but when it happens, that too becomes a game of lies, as he holds secrets and she has to learn to play the game to survive.
You knew what Lex was doing to me. Orchestrating a fake pregnancy and making me believe that I lost a baby.
And also why Lex Luthor eventually becomes a full-blown supervillain in the most awesomest episode ever, where Clark transcends into something more than just a sad boy. Injustice. Just justice. You spoiled f***ing kids nowadays, you get your f***ing Avengers movies and multiple cuts of Justice League. Back in my day, this was it. And it's so goddamn dated.
Fist jokes. That's all I ever get are fist jokes.
It's a superhero team-up that's made by people that are clearly timid about the very proposition. Everyone is wearing leather, there's no domino masks, because that'd be silly, so sunglasses at night with hoods up makes way more sense.
What I do best.
And everyone's fighting at a factory at nighttime. Lex is making a superhuman army. Ollie with Cyborg and Aquaman have a team, and they go save Bart Allen. Clark does a thing and then stumbles into kryptonite, and then the gang saves them, and then they all walk away from a giant explosion. However, Ollie and Lois then break up, because he can't be there for her. And he's got to say goodbye so he can keep his secret. A moment very much reflective of the very experiences Clark and Lana had.
Because there are more important things in this world than what I want.
But they do it more maturely because, unlike Clark, this ain't their first heartbreak. They're mature people he'll grow into. Also, they have supporting character privileges. In a more reflective episode that shows how much Clark and Lex has changed, they both get stuck in a nice tight hole. Someone that Lex Luthor crossed blows up the tunnels he's in. Clark tries to go in, but then gets stuck due to kryptonite. How they act now totally contrasts who they were.
I stopped expecting you to act like a friend a long time ago.
I can't believe you destroy someone just to win a race.
Were we ever really friends, Lex? I don't know. I have nothing to compare it to. You're the only real friend I've ever had, Clark. Somewhere along the way, you saw me as your nemesis. Turn your back on me.
The reason why their relationship fell apart was directly because of effective forecasts, the expectations of being enemies someday due to their differences echoed by those around them constantly, and the way they take that acceptance of the future to exploit and deny one another.
Being caught underage at a strip club, using my membership while I'm gearing up for a political campaign.
I didn't mean to drag you into this.
The destiny of them becoming enemies is a reality now. All because of this vision of the future. But then there's also an important moment where Lex runs off, but he actually then comes back with a beam to help Clark out.
you really think I was gonna let you die alone down here, Clark?
They didn't have to be enemies. They just had to stop being their fathers, as the previous seasons thematically highlighted. Lex very much learns that Lana would have left him and has doubt now.
I saw Lana the day of the wedding. She was gonna leave you.
Which is made worse when he sees her with Clark, but then he also gets the satisfaction of seeing her leave him for him. But later that night he does confront her, and she's forced to twist his lie against him, saying that she felt that the baby was dying and feared that he couldn't love her, and this messes him up. His own effective forecasts of Lana being the one to redeem him is a lie, because the means he took to attain it destroyed the possibility and sincerity of that change that he was looking for. Instead, he only has a mixture of self-hatred and doubt.
What kind of a person would lie like that?
In the finale, Lionel reveals to Lex that Lana doesn't love him, and he rejects his father forever in his disbelief. Martha leaves for Washington and points out that Clark doesn't need to stay, but he's deeply protective of the farm and his family's legacy.
This farm, it's my home. And it's been in our family for over 100 years. Someone has to take care of it.
But that someone doesn't have to be you.
While Lana has chosen to leave Lex and embraces Clark, he reveals his powers, and she ends up revealing what Lionel did, so Clark f***ing confronts him. But before he can snap his neck, it's revealed Lionel used Lana to get information on Lex while Martian Manhunter intervenes to confirm his good intentions. They're all on the same side, because everyone is also trapped in this game of inescapable lies. Lana confronts Lex over the baby and argues he's not capable of f***ing love as he tries to keep her.
Clark means more to me than you ever will.
She then gets blown up as Lionel watches who has to bring the news to Clark. Season 6, all of this was the choking point where all the pieces left from the beginning, Lana, Clark and Lex, were all taken to their most extremes. From being brothers who valued each other's differences, learning from each other, are now worst enemies.
The days of you showing up unannounced in my home are over.
Lana, from the girl next door he's destined to fall in love with forever, turns into someone Clark has to learn to let go as he enters his manhood. And Lois, in the background, simmers as someone Clark has the potential to be even more powerful and more truthfully connected with. It's all so very special, but at the same time, to be continued. Alright, so that was the second part of the Smallville retrospective series. The original plan was to do the series in 2 parts, because the first part was the first 5 seasons, and I was going to do the last 5 seasons, but I wasn't really with how happy that in part 1 I kind of squished everything so tightly together that I didn't really have time to go into detail about Clark, Lana and Lex's relationship. So instead I'm going in season by season individually now. Hopefully this will speed up the process of making these and give me more room to dissect Smallville's version of Doomsday, Zod and Ollie and other characters. Anyways, special thanks to everyone on Patreon. The UK is entering a recession, guys. It's terrible. So you guys, I can kiss you all.
That is totally retarded.